So my interest today is HR practices and learning and development, the relationship between the human resource practices and learning and development. We've been looking at learning and development in relation to human beings, to human resource management. And now I want us to just look at the practices themselves and the way the HR practices can be applied in terms of learning and development. Now, I want us to look at how to develop a training. If you want to develop a training, you need to follow a few steps. These are my opinions according to the research that I've done. You can start by assessing what the employees need to learn, a needs assessment. What do they need? What do your employees lack? Once you know what the employees lack, what they need to know, you then go to develop a module. You develop the material of which, or not necessarily the material, but the way in which they are going to be taught. The engagement. For example, are they to be taught in a certain level, from one level to another level, like grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3, like level 1 to level 2 to level 3? In which areas are they going to be taught? Maybe they are going to be taught in life skills. They are going to be taught in safety measures. Yeah, that is what we mean by saying module, and it must be very engaging, very interactive. Then train employees on the new module. Now, if you have done now the module, you have decided this is the area that I'm going to train my employees, and of course followed by developing the materials. Now you train the employees in that module, and then in case you realize you have not met your goals, because we said after you've done the training you must evaluate. In case you've not met your goals, then repeat the process. Repeat as regular as possible so that you ensure that your employees are up to date with information and they have the necessary skills depending with the program they are working in, depending with the needs of the institution, and so on. Now, how do you conduct this training? Because you've developed the materials, you've developed, and we've said train them. How do you train them? When you want to train, ensure that you have established clear objectives for the training. Like for this lesson, I have a clear objective. I want us to discuss about HR practices and learning and development. So that's what I wanted to achieve in this lesson. I just want us to look at the relationship between human resource practices compared to learning and development. Have clear objectives and make sure that every trainee or employee in that case is achieving the objective, or they are part of the objective that you want to achieve. Then keep the training sessions as interactive as possible. Encourage participation, use questions, use discussions, use activities like you can role play in class, make a class and let the class be interactive. And then use a variety of teaching methods. I may use one teaching method in this case, but one thing I know is that this is because this is an online class, but it's good to have different methods of teaching, like lectures, like case studies, like role playing, like I say, doing exercises, and so on. Then ensure that the training is relevant to the needs of the employees. They will tell you, the employees themselves will tell you, this one is very important for us because we don't have the skills, or we need the skills. Then also continue motivating feedback, because feedback and reinforcement in a training session helps you to know whether you are achieving the objectives or not. And feedback can be done through assessment, evaluation, through questionnaires, through brainstorming. Get as much feedback as possible. Then follow up the training and ensure that it is completed. Ensure that the course hours are all done to ensure that you have achieved your objectives. Now, what is the role of human resource management in training and development? Because we've been saying they are the ones, they are the ones, they are the ones. Human resource management and the human resource professionals in an institution have a very big role when it comes to this training and development, because they are the ones who do the employment and employee orientation. They do the orientation of employees. Orientation is part of training and development. So you can't do orientation of new employees without training them, without telling them this is what you need to do, without giving them the required objectives, the required skills, the required knowledge. You may need to confirm what they know, but you need also to ensure they have. If they don't, then you have to go ahead and train them. Then human resource, one of the functions of human resource is career development. That as somebody gets into the institution, whichever career they have chosen and they are specialists in, they need to develop themselves. Now, if that is the case, then training and development will help in just getting the initiative of the goals to be achieved done, so that there is career development for these human resource, for these employees in the institution. Also, human resource management is in charge of leadership training, that you need to train leaders in an institution. And that is the role of human resource management officials. They also ensure management and development. The management of the institution relies so much on human resource, because they are the ones who put the hierarchy in place. They are the ones who ensure that the hierarchy chart is being followed, who is answerable to who, because that is part of job description. So they have also to develop the management in a way that those who are in management at management levels are able to know their functions, their roles, and also run the errands as expected. Then human resource management are also in charge of supervision. They supervise, and it is part of the job description that a HR is a supervisor. So because they are supervisors, to supervise, they have to supervise people who have gotten the content, the knowledge, the required skills. They need to have the required competencies. And this is done through training. And now, training and development process is another thing that I need to go through. When we are doing training and development process, we see the first thing is that we do an analysis of what the company wants and the people they have. Do they fit? Are they able to carry out those specific objectives and functions, those specific roles and duties? If they aren't, then that analysis shows there is need for training. Then determine the objectives. Now, after you have realized these people are not able to use a computer, for example, go ahead and say, I want my employees or colleague employees to know how to use a computer. That is an objective. Structure that objective. How will they start knowing a computer or how to use a computer? Will they start by printing? Will they start by typing? Will they start by just studying the keyboard? You need to structure it. Then come up with a method of teaching. Now, knowing a computer is not something you can go and lecture. You need to provide a computer and show, and even role play. Tell them, this is how I have done it. Try to do it the way I did it. They will be able to learn very fast. Then now conduct the sessions, the training sessions. Try to be as effective as possible. Use the most effective method you preferred. Then after you've done the training, you have implemented the objectives you wanted to implement. There is something we call post-training evaluation. Evaluate using the employee performance. Look at how they are performing. Are they now able to use a computer? Can they now type something? Can they post? Can they convert? If they are able to do that, then the training is successful. Then monitor the results, and where possible, reward for those who do better, and then determine the future of training in an institution. You can even go ahead and write a report and say, from now henceforth, this is how we will take in our employees, this is what we will tell them, this is what we will do to them, and so on. Now, we have something called training analysis that also the HR managers must understand. And when we talk about training analysis, to analyze a training session, a training program, you need, number one, to do an employee analysis. you are going to train employees, you have to analyze them. And when you are analyzing employees, you check the skills, the knowledge, the competencies, the attitudes, the behavior. If the behaviors, if whatever you have found out from the employees using maybe interviews, as you supervise them, questionnaires, interactive sessions, once you have identified their attitudes, make a decision based on what you have identified. Then do a job analysis. Job analysis is done through the skill sets, the technological advancements and knowledge, knowledge of resources like tools and equipment, the way somebody uses them. You will know if that person is able to fit the institution and in that position they are put in. We call that job analysis. It is very important when we are doing training analysis. Then organizational analysis. This is quite general. Organizational analysis. Each organization has a requirement they need from a certain employee, both long-term and short-term. And they have visions, they have goals, they have aims, they have a mission statement, a wide mission statement. Ask yourself, do you have the necessary resources in terms of equipment and maybe in terms of employees? If they aren't, then you need to do a training so that either the resources that are available are used by the trainees that are available. The trainees, the employees that are available. Or go ahead, talk to the management, bring in new employees or bring in new resources like tools and equipment, but train people how to use them. Thank you very much.